My name is Dr. Akbar Saeed. I am a associate professor in the Business Technology Management program at Wilfrid Laurier University. And I have developed a research program in the entrepreneurship area. And specifically, the project that I am going to talk about today is called Improving Solopreneur Business Sustainability, Validating a More Holistic Approach to Training and Development of Marginalized Entrepreneurs in Kampala, Uganda. So this research is specifically focused on what I call solopreneurs, or we could also call them street vendors, and it is going to be conducted in Kampala in Uganda. I had the opportunity to teach with a group called Professors Without Borders in Uganda a few years ago, and I came across an NGO that was running entrepreneurship training for street vendors. They had mixed results with it. They were trying really hard, but I realized that there was an opportunity to try to contribute and try to validate a more effective approach. And from that, I conducted a partnership engage grant, which was a very small grant, specifically doing some research. We did some surveys and talked to some of the street vendors about what the good things and bad things about the program. And from that, we got a lot of insight as to how the program should be probably improved. And we used that to form the basis of this grant application. And so this grant is going to be conducted coming up in the fall of this year. One of the interesting things is that, a lot of the NGOs, which are controlled by Western interests, they run these training programs. Many of them are skills-based training. And the research over the last couple of years has suggested that they have mixed results. Some of them are doing well, many of them are not. And the problem is that most of them are based on what we call Western-centric views. For those of you that have traveled and experienced Africa and some of the developing world, it's a lot different. The institutions are not as strong. There is not as much support for entrepreneurs, and the environment in general is not the same as it is in the West. Therefore, what we're looking at is trying to develop specific context-specific entrepreneurship training that works well within the developing context, and specifically for street vendors and solopreneurs who don't really have access to a lot of finance support and things like that. So what we're doing is we're using a new approach to entrepreneurship called effectuation. And effectuation kind of flips the model upside down, right? As opposed to looking at the market and saying, okay, what are the ends that we want to get, and what are the means we need to satisfy those ends and get established within the market. What we do is we look at the means first and say, okay, what means do we have? What abilities do we have? What contacts do we have? Who do we know? Those kind of things. And what kind of ends or what kind of possibilities can we imagine from that? And so this tends to be, much more effective within the developing world for solopreneurs who don't have access to a lot of resources. And so the idea is that we develop this training and, we validate the approach, we improve it, and then eventually, we're going to publish a manual or a book of some sort that can be used by NGOs across the world to develop their own specific, context-specific entrepreneurship training. And so we feel that this will have a huge effect on, poverty levels, because one thing that is very established is that, entrepreneurship is one very effective tool to address, poverty in the developing world. The problems that marginalized populations experience is usually very, very complex. In order to address that and help them, I fully believe that we need to create the appropriate conditions to help marginalized populations address their own issues, as opposed to imposing, what we think is best for them. And entrepreneurship is only one piece of that puzzle. We're looking into possible collaborations with people from political science, people from sociology, people from music, from different areas to kind of look at how we can have a more holistic approach to address some of the challenges. And marginalized populations also exist not just within in the developing world, but also within the developed world, right? So within Canada, there's lots of opportunities. In fact, we are now putting together a partnership development grant, which includes organizations that are working with the African diaspora in Canada, as well as an organization that is working with First Nations entrepreneurs. So there's many, many groups of marginalized entrepreneurs. And in order to address them more effectively, I think we need a more holistic and more collaborative approach. So that's something that we are looking at, in the near future as we start to, develop this research agenda a little bit more. If anybody out there who has an interest in this area, please feel free to contact me, and definitely, any other academics who are, working, with this, I'd be definitely interested in a more collaborative, multidisciplinary research proposal, which would be very interesting if we can put something like that together. So definitely, I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much.